So I found this article on Redfin. I didn't even know Redfin had news like that. I thought it was just houses that they're like buying and selling. I didn't really think about it. But anyways, asking rents are falling in 28 major U.S. metros. So we already know cost of living is high, especially for housing, but there has been decreases. So the median U.S. asking rent dropped 1% year over year to 1633. I know it talked about median. I was trying to see. I thought I had an article that talked about the average home price. It's probably just in my notes. Um, yeah, it's in my notes. I'll just read it off in my notes. But this is interesting. I like the part where Austin, Texas had like the highest drop in rates, and it was like almost 9%, which was excellent. So yeah, this is the average 1,300 MA. So if you're looking for cheap housing, go to freaking Austin. But it did have, yeah. So this is what I was looking at that I wanted to show you. This is ending May 31st. So these are the different areas. As you can see, medium asking rent, month over month change in median asking rent, year over year change. So really, this is the rent. So Atlanta, 1,500. When I was in Atlanta, I would say this was like 2021. How much was I paying for two? I had a two-bedroom, two bath. It was a gated apartment complex. The apartment building was about 3 years old, and I was paying about $1,400. Utilities was, man, I don't know. The electricity was really high, but it was about $200. So yeah, I think that's what I was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was 2021. But anyways, and it was a decent. What was it? North Druid Hills. So it's a decent area. So I can see how this is 1,300 Austin, Baltimore 1,600. Yeah, Baltimore houses is cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap those apartments are. If you don't know, I'm in the DMV area, so Baltimore. I'm like, it's like new apartment buildings, and they're just really cheap. And it's not even like the hood areas, like around downtown near what's that University Hospital. Um, what's that place called? I just slipped my mind. The hospital that was buying up all this property and all these homes, but damn, it's like right at the edge. What is it called? John Hopkins. Yeah. But anyways, Boston really expensive. Already know that 2,800 is like the median. Wow. Dallas, Houston is really cheap. 1253. I guess it depends where. Detroit. LA is always gonna be high. Let me see. Philly 1,900. New York 2,800. Portland, Providence, Rhode Island 2,100. Yeah, Riverside. Okay, that's Cali. Cali. I don't really look at the Cali. I already know the Cali stuff is gonna be high. Damn. San Jose 3,200. What? Yeah. Wow. Washington D.C. So my area about 2,100. Yeah, it is. If you want to find a decent place, you're gonna be paying at least $2,000 for like a studio or one bedroom. It definitely is high. Virginia Beach, Norfolk. Okay, so there you go. So, anyways, um, it's not necessarily the government's fault why. Let me switch it up. Why the prices are so high. A lot of people say just big investors like bought up all the houses and just are putting them out to be rented. And yeah, I understand BlackRock is doing their thing, but that's one thing I hear. Rent is up everywhere. I used to think that until I actually researched it, and It's not really true. Landlords raising their prices. Now it depends. It's what I found is that um, if you go to the major apartment complexes, they tend to stay on in line with the inflation and increasing their rents and stuff like that. But if you find like a private um, landlord, and usually the house is good, like you're not look obviously you use your wisdom to figure out if they're going to be a slumlord or not. But if you go to a private landlord and the places seems put together, maintained well, they're not so pressed to keep up in the rent. Like usually, like I remember when I was a landlord, and when I got the house, the rents were real stupid low. Like just the person just never increased the rent, so I had to at least say, okay, I got to increase it a little bit, but it wasn't even that much, and I wasn't gonna keep increasing it every day. Like I wasn't that involved like that. Like okay, the market went up 3% and I got to increase. I wasn't doing all that. Um, so it depends on who you're running for, but I tend to find the private landlords are more flexible, so you can look out for those people because they're just trying to get somebody in their house to help them with their mortgage, and they don't have multiple properties, so if they raise the rent too much, then they don't have anyone. Then they're just footing the cost. Like there's no benefit to them. Um, some people say just wait until the rates come down. I mean, it depends on your situation. Millennials and Gen Z are screwed. The rates are just sky high. Like all this stuff is true, but um, here's what's actually happening. So mortgage rates are averaging around 6.7 to 6.9% as of this month, 2025. Home prices haven't dropped that much. The median home is about $460,000. It's up 3% year over year. 3% is really the inflation rate. So there it is, but it's still freaking too high. Um, so just affordability for a 30-year low mortgage. Um, yeah, it's basically at a 30-year low. Rent is still high overall, but just not everywhere. Just like I showed you, it is dropping around the country, almost 9%. In Austin and other cities like Portland and Vegas, it's actually coming down. Vegas, they're having issues because not a lot of people going to Vegas anymore. People aren't gambling like that, and I'm thinking it's because of the online betting. I think that's a big portion of it, but Vegas rents are coming down, and they just so many of them just overcharged. Like, I think the last time I went to Vegas, like maybe five 5 years ago, and it's like they nickel and dime you everywhere. So basically, will things get cheaper? Perhaps, maybe in the future. I kind of have this belief that prices don't really go down. It's not going to go down much. You have to get your income levels higher. That's just kind of how I see things. But the real question is like, how do you position yourself so that it doesn't matter as much? It doesn't really affect you as much. That's the strategic question that you should be asking yourself. Like with anything, you don't want to always be going with the wave. Like you kind of want to be consistent, or you want to be consistent as far as your emotional level, as far as even if the market is not doing so well, you're still going to be good regardless. There's roughly a 4 million unit housing shortage in the US according to Freddie Mac. A lot of the builders cut construction in 2020 to 2022. Remember when lumber and all the building materials were backed up from the shipping ports? So that increased the prices of lumber. So there's a shortage of that. Not a lot of homes were built during COVID for other obvious reasons as well. So you got a lot of demand, but you just don't got that much supply. Gen Z and millennials, especially Gen Z, entering those years of buying homes, and there's nothing there, or it's too freaking high. Like, how can you expect someone young in their 20s to be affording almost a $500,000 home? I remember when I first, like, this was in Baltimore, and it's cheap, but I was able to get rental property 2 units for I think it was like 83. It was like 79 or $80,000. It's really cheap. You had regular starter homes that was for like 120,000, maybe 220,000. I think 220 was like the average in Maryland. Now it's like you're spending at least, yeah, like I think the cheapest I've seen around is probably it hovers around like 380, like in a decent area, not a like not in the boondocks or anything like that. So yeah, rent surged 20 to 25%. So you notice rent is has gone up, but it is starting to come down. And that was really during the COVID years. So everything is just tight. It is what it is. So this is what you could do if you find yourself in a position where you're trying to get into another living situation. Maybe the place that you got is not good. I've seen stories about just rodent issues, infestation, in a lot of these apartment complexes. I just saw one in Laurel, Maryland, where like people's taking pictures of the mice that keep on getting caught up and stuff like that. But um, basically, these are just 5 steps. 5 steps that you can do in order to put yourself in a better position. So the first thing, if it's feasible, go to where the prices are loosening. So relocate, find another area that you can move. If you have a remote job, then that's should be a possibility for you. Austin, so dropped like 8.8%. Portland is dropped 6%. Minneapolis 5%, and Vegas like 4%. So even if it's temporary, you can make it work. Do what you got to do. That's obviously that's not going to be the most viable solution for a lot of you all, but hey, if you got the means to do it, you're able to do it. If you're just working a job, not a career, and it's kind of funny, hey, this might be a good opportunity for you to really look at the whole country and see, okay, where do you want to live? Especially if this is to happen again, or when it happens again, or another financial crisis happens, or if it's a recession or anything like that, what's the best place that you will want to be? So that's one. Um, if you do decide to buy now, really try to look at the long game. Assume rates won't drop soon, so you want to get in where uh, how much you're paying for your housing costs is really less than 30% of your income. And what I like to do, I don't like going off a gross income. It's not real. Look at how much you bring into your bank account, how much is deposited into your bank account, and use that number because that will save you from getting into trouble. So if your housing costs can be a third of that, or 30% of like 30% of your income net, then you're gonna be in a good position. Now you might think, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. If you're a single person, room share. Like, what's the point in if you don't have a family or anything like that? It's probably live with family, room share with other roommates, figure something out. But you don't like you want to cut those hard costs as much as you can. So just focus on, uh, you know, get a smaller home, shared mortgage, multi-unit, a house hack. So if you can get a nice multi-unit for a good price or whatever, and you got like renters already there, something like that. Like just try to figure out how you can put yourself in a good position. Um, Third thing you can do is just negotiate like it was 2020. So this really works with those private landlords. Like see if you get like free parking or some type of amenity or something like that where it can cut off costs because it might seem small, but all this stuff starts to add up. And also it's you're also building some skills as well. You're building your negotiating skills. You're building your discipline skills so that you can stay in one line at least when it comes to your expenses. So it's good so that when things do improve, because the economy goes in waves, you can really maximize your position when it's really high. And because you're building this discipline, it kind of prevents you from going back down that same track that you were before. Number four, stack cash and skills. So get due to gig economy. do some DoorDash, Uber Eats, uh, Uber, like whatever you can to stack up some extra money so you can fund your emergency fund, and also build some skills so that your skill set is always going to be in high demand. You can request more money. You can do what you need to do with that. 6 to 12 months, really a year of expenses you want paid off. But remember, um, you can always start small with baby steps. Start with $500 for an emergency, then $1,000 for an emergency. Then look at the month. Then look at the quarter, and then 6 months, and then go on from there. Understand how much you need a month, and then that's where it comes to uh, the financial audit. You need to know how much you're spending every month in order to so you know how much to allocate every month for your emergency fund and stuff like that. Really important, so that basically when the rates drop and things get better, you'll be in a position. You won't be going off of emotion. You won't be, oh, finally. It's more so like, yeah, this was expected. I'm gonna go ahead and do the moves that I need to do. So this is also then, I'll call it the step five. Your mindset. Instead of waiting for something to change, really depending on the government, you're taking control and you're preparing for when it does change. You're preparing for the winters. You're preparing for when things are not the best. Stop thinking of in terms of own versus rent. Think of control versus dependency. And your goal is just to control your cost of living, not chase perfect timing. So that's what you want to do. So yeah, the system is unfair. You're going to have these ups and downs in the economy. Wages are going to lag. Like something outside of your control is always going to happen to you. So you want to do your best so that you're in a position where you have power, you have leverage somehow. And the way you're going to do it is having a stash of cash, investments, or whatever, and also your skill set, because your mind is what's gonna get you to the next stage of being prepared for whatever negative happens. So there you go. Hopefully that helps as far as just if you're in a position where you need better housing, start thinking proactively, start thinking creatively. You always look up stuff, talk to people that seem like they have everything put together. Whatever you do, you got to inject new information into your mind, because your best decisions got you to where you are. How are you going to get anywhere else if you don't try to learn, read, like observe other people? So that's I would say that's that'll be my advice to you.